Hello everybody, we'll be doing the showcase of the GLAIVIER. I've been testing recently few builds. I ended up playing Spec Swiftness, Pinnacle, 4 blue skills, 3 red skills. I started from 5 blue, 2 red. I played then 4 blue, 3 red Spec Crit with the Ambush Master. I ended up playing 4 blue, 3 red with the Christmas. So those are different from each other. Like 4-3 Spec Crit from 4-3 Spec Swift only differs in the fact that you run Spec Crit on the necklace, and instead of increase mass you run Ambush Master, and your rotation looks a bit different. It's way harder to play, and it takes a lot of time to chase bosses us with the Lancer, which I just didn't like too much. Doing back attack with the, in comparison to Blade, is way harder to do it with the Lancer when you are doing like a carry runs, on where you're doing like 2-man content. When you are doing like, if you are doing 8-man, it would be way easier to back attack than when you are doing low man, because you are more likely to get aggro from boss. Therefore, you like he'll be turning way more often, which will decrease your DPS hype time. So I decided in the end to run Spec Swiftness with increased mass, 4 blue, 3 red. So I'll talk about the stats and the gems and stuff and the rotation quickly. In terms of distribution of the stats, main spec from Necklace Swift. When you are choosing the necklace for the build, keep an eye if it's like a green quality. Swiftness won't matter as much as getting high spec. So for example, Swiftness could be 420, but spec 470. If it's a green quality, then it's a good necklace, even though it's still green. Yeah, don't worry too much about the Swiftness. The extremely important part about GLAIVIER are tripods. Playing a GLAIVIER without tripods is kinda painful. I have a low level, I have 1385 GLAIVIER without any tripods, level 5 gems, and there is a world and difference in playing this and playing that other character. It still does fine at the content it does, but enjoyment for playing a fluid rotation is just different. In terms of skills, what do we use? I won't be covering other builds. If you are interested about other builds, I can talk about it. You can hop in on the stream and I'll answer your questions, but we'll cover here purely because we just don't have enough time. We'll cover only 4-3 build that I run right now. So in terms of skills, Half Moon Slash, pretty standard. Flurry Expertise, Final Decision, Blade Tornado. On low level gear, when you don't have tripods yet, when you don't have cooldown gems, you can run Chasing Slash instead of Blade Tornado, because it takes longer to perform the skill and it's higher damage. But the problem is you won't fit on your rotation properly. So if you don't care too much about rotation and you just want to jam your skills and on the lower end of the gear level, it's okay to run Chasing Slash instead of the Blade Tornado. Blade Tornado if you want to min-max your rotation. Raging Dragon Slash, Quick Prep, Additional Slash, Awaken. If you don't have the, again, tripods, it's okay to run Precise Slash because it takes longer and your whole rotation will prolong in time, and therefore your cooldowns won't feel as bad as they would when you have everything set up. Additional Slash when you min-max, Precise Slash if you're at lower end. This doesn't impact, if you run this, it won't impact your proper rotation. So it's okay to run Precise Slash instead of Additional Slash. In terms of Will Blades, we use, it's pretty standard. That's the only thing that's probably available right now. A 3-1-2 build. And that's it in terms of DPS blue skills. We have the Artist Energy, Shackling Blue, on level 10. This is the most important tripod for the GLAIVIER. I recommend getting +4 as soon as you can. Get at least +3 and +4 whenever you can afford it on 14-15. That's the most important tripod for the GLAIVIER to make your rotation smoother. In terms of utility skills, we use Flash Kick. If you don't have level 60, you're gonna be using level 4 Flash Kick with excellent mobility. And we use the Quick Recharge I'll explain it during the rotation, why quick recharge. And excellent mobility on our counter, it makes it easier to use. We're gonna be using also Chain Slash. We use this for the destruction, and we use this as a filler. If you're not gonna be level 60, you can put 4 points in and use Swoop. It's a good gap closer, and after using Chain Slash, you can close the gap after cancelling animation with your space. Jumping into red skills, we use Thrust of Destruction. We use 1-2-1. Some might say this is better. Why not use 100% crit chase? This is because we do our rotation where we have crit synergy for Thrust of Destruction, which will give us damage. And if you choose to not run this, this is very low damage skill, because the crit damage that comes from the Spear of Destruction on the Thrust of Destruction is quite low, because we have already so much crit damage coming from the Pinnacle and from the stance swapping. So the scaling on the spear is actually quite low. That's why you want to run quick prep and weak point detection and air ripping thrust, because the scaling is just better. Then we use the spawns, quick prep, powerful finish, and weak point detection, pretty standard. And RDH we use quick prep, spear of destruction, and weak point detection. So in terms of runes, what do we run and why? Judgment Conviction. We use Conviction on the Half Moon Slash, and we use Judgment on the Wheel of Blades. We're gonna be using those two skills after our crit synergy, and we'll be using Judgment proc on our red skills, so they come off cooldown sooner for us. In terms of before you get Nightmare set, I would two-piece Nightmare set, I would recommend using Focus on the Shackling Blue, because you're gonna be running out of mana. If you don't have that problem, go ahead, use Bleed on it. On Kick, we use Quick Recharge. The reason why, because when you swap to blue, you start with the Quick Recharge, with the Kick, to lower cooldown on those 3 skills. So we start with Kick into Raging Dragon, and then we're gonna be feeling Chain Slash sometimes, and then we're gonna be going with the Shackling and to Slash into of Blades. And then Gale Wind on the Raging Dragon to accelerate it, Gale Wind on the Red Dragon Horn. In terms of engravings, when you are going for 4x3, you're gonna be using Pinnacle, Thin Blunt, Grudge, Careless Doll. You might want to go for budget, then you can replace one of the random ones with the increased mass. It's cheaper, worse, but cheaper. Yeah, perfectly viable. You can also use Ambush Master with this build, but you need to chase the ass more often. Just you replace increased mass with Ambush Master. Cards. If I would have a choice at this build, I wouldn't use Lost Wind even. Use defensive card set, just for the HP. I don't think it's worth to use crit chance just for the blue skills and for the Thrust of Destruction. Until you get 8 in Light of Salvation, I would be using defensive card set for now. I wouldn't bother using Lost Wind for the GLAIVIER. Just have too little of the value. It's better just to use even plus 12% HP card set. In terms of set, so once you do your Valtan, crafting Nightmare really helps in terms of sustaining mana. It solves the issue. Then, if you don't have access to Vicas yet, and you are playing on the hard Valtan, you can craft Salvation. And I should be having here Harsh Oath from Dargos, but I dismantled my Bloods and I couldn't recraft it because I had my Harsh Oath on those 2 slots. So Harsh Oath on those. If your GLAIVIER is 1430 or lower, you want to craft Beast Power. Beast Power is very strong for GLAIVIER, and keep Argos Harsh Oath on the shoulders and the gloves. Harsh Oath is better for this variation of the build from the Argos. Alright, let's go over the rotation. We want to, after we use the Shackling, we want to make sure we use the Thrust, so the boss has still the crit synergy. Like, look at the boss debuffs. It has still the crit synergy when I'm using my Thrust, and my Thrust doesn't have the 100% crit. So you want to make sure when you do the rotation, you're applying the crit synergy for the thrust. So when you swap to red skills, you want to use thrust first, and afterwards pulse and the other. We start here with kick to reduce the cooldown on our other skills. Whenever you proc Judgment, you can use also Awakening to reduce cooldown on the on the Awakening. Keep in mind to kick after you swap, so you can reduce the cooldowns on your remaining skills that are on cooldown. You won't be able to do this rotation without high-level tripods on quick prep and without gems. So you're gonna be feeling Cutting Wind on the blue stance yet before you do the Shackling Blue with the Half Moon Slash and the Wheel of Blades. I'm feeling only Chain Slash because I have enough cooldown reduction. Yes, alright. Hope this guys helps a bit and clarifies on the GLAIVIER build. There are different variations which we're not gonna be covering here. If you have any questions regarding other builds, you can hop on the Twitch channel and ask me there. I'll be answering questions. Hope you guys enjoyed. Cheers.